Reincarnation presents us with a profound perspective on our existence. Your current life is just one chapter in a much more extensive and meaningful journey. Like a great story divided into volumes, each incarnation represents a new episode where your soul continues its development and learning. This view explains why you may feel older than your chronological age suggests, because in essence, you carry with you the baggage of many past experiences. When you wonder about unexplained talents that arise naturally, fears that seem to have no origin in your current life, or instant connections with people you just met, reincarnation offers a context for these mysteries. Your soul retains impressions of all your past experiences, even though your conscious mind does not have direct access to these memories. It's as if you have a vast archive of experiences stored at a deeper level of your being. There is what many traditions call the veil of forgetfulness, a protective mechanism that prevents complete past life memories from overwhelming your current consciousness. Imagine how difficult it would be to live fully in the present if you remembered all your previous deaths, painful losses or traumas experienced over the centuries. This veil allows you to begin each life with a relatively clean slate, yet the essence of who you are remains. Certain moments of transition, such as birth, near-death, deep sleep, and meditation, can create temporary openings in this veil. It is in these liminal states that the soul's memories can most easily emerge into consciousness. This is why many people report past life memories during hypnotic regressions or in deep meditative states. The barrier between the conscious and subconscious becomes temporarily more permeable, allowing fragments of this larger soul story to be perceived. Déjà vu is one of the most intriguing experiences we can have, that sudden, powerful feeling of having lived through a certain moment before. Although conventional science tries to explain it away as a simple processing error in the brain, people who experience frequent, intense déjà vus often feel like there's something deeper going on. These are not just minor cognitive lapses, but moments when your soul seems to recognize something from your distant past, creating a resonance that surpasses your conscious memory. What makes these episodes particularly significant are the emotions that accompany them. Common past life déjà vu isn't just a passing thought of "that looks familiar," but comes loaded with intense emotions, an inexplicable longing, a deep sense of recognition, or even a strong emotional response like tears or goosebumps. It's as if for a brief moment, two timelines crossed and you could feel the echo of who you once were in another time. The intensity and frequency of these episodes are important indicators. While occasional déjà vu can be explained in a variety of ways, recurring patterns of strong recognition, especially when linked to specific places, situations, or types of people you encounter, suggest soul memories trying to emerge. Observe closely when they occur. Is there a pattern? Do certain environments, sounds, smells, or circumstances seem to trigger them more often? These clues may reveal aspects of your previous incarnations. Her fascinating aspect about déjà vu that is rarely discussed is its relationship to what spiritual studies call nodal points, moments of decision or experiences that recur across multiple lifetimes as opportunities for growth. When you experience strong déjà vu during an important choice or significant encounter, it may indicate that your soul is revisiting a recurring theme in its journey. Pay special attention to these moments. They can represent opportunities to resolve old karmic patterns and make more conscious choices this time around. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt like you were already old friends? That immediate feeling of comfort and mutual understanding, as if they were just resuming a conversation that had been interrupted a long time ago. These instant connections are one of the most tangible signs of relationships that transcend this life. Your soul recognizes another soul with whom it has shared significant experiences before, even if your conscious mind does not have access to those memories. It's like a recognition that happens on a deeper level than words can explain. The same phenomenon occurs with specific places. Have you ever visited a city or region for the first time and felt an inexplicable feeling of coming home? Perhaps you can intuitively navigate unfamiliar streets or feel a familiarity with the local landscape, architecture, or culture that goes beyond what you could have absorbed through books or films. This deep resonance with certain geographic environments is often an echo of past lives lived in those locations. Your soul holds energetic memories of the places where you have had significant experiences. These instant connections follow revealing patterns. Some people are repeatedly drawn to particular cultures, regions, or historical periods. Others find the same types of relationships, positive or challenging, appearing repeatedly in their lives. Pay attention to these patterns, as they may offer clues about your broader history as a soul. The relationships that generate the most intense emotional reactions, whether immediate attraction or aversion, are often those with the greatest karmic significance, signaling unresolved issues or deep bonds that span multiple incarnations. Some spiritual teachers call it vibrational resonance, the idea that each soul maintains a unique energetic signature that other souls can unconsciously recognize. When you have a strong, instant connection with someone, your energies are literally recognizing each other and getting in sync. This phenomenon explains why you can sometimes feel the presence of a past life loved one before you even physically see them, or why certain encounters seem orchestrated by the universe. These connections are rarely accidental. They often represent opportunities for healing, growing together, or completing important cycles in your shared spiritual journey. The natural talents and abilities that appear effortlessly in your life are not mere genetic accidents or serendipity. When you demonstrate surprising aptitude for something with minimal training, you are witnessing the result of skills developed over multiple lifetimes. Your soul is like a living archive that preserves all the skills you have previously mastered. This is why a child can sit down at the piano for the first time and play intuitively, or an adult can learn a foreign language with inexplicable ease. These skills are not being learned, but rather remembered. The existence of these innate talents is particularly evident in child prodigies. When a 5-year-old demonstrates mastery of advanced mathematics or composes complex symphonies, we are witnessing more than just an exceptionally developed brain. In these extraordinary cases, the veil between lives is thinner, allowing skills cultivated in previous incarnations to flow more freely into current consciousness. The same principle applies on a smaller scale when you discover that you have a natural aptitude for cooking, gardening, carpentry, teaching, or any other skill that seems to come naturally to you. Also notice your deepest inclinations and interests, those activities that spark your passion and for which you lose track of time when you do them. Often these are areas in which your soul has already invested considerable energy in past lives. Familiarity brings pleasure, and activities you've mastered before tend to create a state of flow more easily when resumed. It's as if your soul feels at home in these practices. Even when you need to relearn specific techniques in this lifetime, the underlying understanding and intuition remain accessible on a deeper level. Some Eastern traditions call these talents favorable karmic imprints, or positive samskaras. These are virtuous tendencies and beneficial abilities cultivated in previous lives that naturally manifest in the current incarnation as gifts and talents. Unlike negative karmic patterns that require resolution, these represent spiritual achievements that continue to benefit you and others. When you consciously use your natural talents in a way that benefits the world around you, you not only enjoy personal satisfaction, but you also strengthen these positive qualities for future incarnations, creating a virtuous cycle of spiritual growth through time. Dreams aren't just random processing of daily experiences. They can be windows into other lives your soul has lived. When you have recurring, extremely vivid dreams of places, times, or situations that you have never experienced in your current life, you may be accessing memories from previous incarnations. These dreams have a different quality from ordinary dreams. They are extraordinarily detailed, coherent, and realistic. You may find yourself wearing clothes from other historical periods, speaking languages you've never studied, or living in societies completely different from your own. The feeling when waking up is not just of having had a dream, but of having actually visited or lived that experience. Past life memories can also arise spontaneously during moments of deep relaxation or meditative states. Without the constant filter of the analytical mind, fragments of old memories can emerge into consciousness. Often these memories are accompanied by intense physical sensations or emotional responses that seem disproportionate to their current context. You may feel pain in a part of your body related to a traumatic death in a previous life, or experience a rush of emotions when you see an image or object that had deep meaning for you in another time. These are not imaginary reactions, but genuine responses from your soul reconnecting with parts of your larger story. What makes these candid memories especially compelling is when they contain specific historical details that you couldn't know through conventional means. People recount memories with precise descriptions of clothing, architecture, social customs, or historical events that, when researched later, turn out to be historically accurate. These verifiable details go beyond what could be created by imagination and often include aspects of everyday life in historical periods that rarely appear in history books or films, such as the specific smell of a type of fuel used centuries ago, or minute details about agricultural practices in ancient civilizations. An interesting phenomenon related to past life memories is what researchers call transpersonal memories, when two or more people independently report complementary memories of the same past life or shared event. This occurs when souls who were together in previous lives reincarnate in the same period, and upon reconnecting, access memories that fit perfectly, filling in details that the other person also remembers. These cases provide some of the most intriguing evidence for the reality of past lives, as it is extremely unlikely that two people would independently create fictional narratives that line up so precisely in specific details. If you find someone with whom you share similar memories or dreams from other times and places, you may be rediscovering an old and meaningful connection. Many of us carry fears that defy any logical explanation. Perhaps you have a paralyzing terror of deep water, although you have never had a traumatic experience related to it in your current life. Or perhaps you panic in enclosed spaces, feel extreme vertigo at heights, or experience unexplained anxiety during thunderstorms. When these intense fears arise without any identifiable triggering event in your current life, they are often rooted in past life trauma. Your body and soul remember, even if your conscious mind does not have access to the specific memory of the original traumatic experience. What makes these phobias particularly revealing is the visceral and automatic nature of the reactions. It is not a rational or calculated fear, but an instinctive response that seems to come from the depths of your being. Your body reacts before your mind can even process what's happening. Heart racing, heavy breathing, tremors, or even localized physical sensations like pain or pressure in specific areas of the body. These reactions are signs that your nervous system is responding to a memory of danger or death that is stored on a cellular or energetic level, not necessarily in conscious memory. Identifying these fears as originating from past lives can be the first step towards liberation and healing. When you recognize that a seemingly irrational fear may have a legitimate cause in another incarnation, you can begin to approach it with compassion rather than self-deprecation. Techniques such as past life regression, graded exposure therapy, or energetic practices can help release these deeply rooted fears. The goal is not necessarily to recover the specific memory of the trauma, but rather to release the energetic and emotional charge associated with it that continues to affect your current life. These fears related to past lives often appear in family patterns, passed down through generations. Reincarnation scholars note that souls tend to reincarnate in family groups over multiple lifetimes, carrying collective traumas. This explains why certain specific fears can appear in different members of the same family without an apparent cause. If you notice a similar pattern of fear among several relatives, it may indicate a shared experience in a previous life or a collective trauma that affected your family group at another time. Understanding this transpersonal dimension of fears can offer a new perspective for healing, not only individuals, but also old family patterns. Have you ever felt an inexplicable attraction to a certain culture, historical period, or ancient civilization? That feeling that when you read about ancient Egypt, classical Greece, or imperial China, something inside you just lights up like a deep recognition. This is not just a casual interest, but an intense emotional connection that goes beyond intellectual curiosity. When you find yourself greedily consuming all available information about a particular historical era, effortlessly memorizing specific details, or feeling inexplicable nostalgia when seeing images or artifacts from that period, you are experiencing one of the most common signs of a past life lived in that context. This fascination is often accompanied by an intuitive understanding of the values, practices, and perspectives of that culture. You may identify strongly with certain customs, feel naturally drawn to traditional clothing from that era, or have a special affinity for the cuisine, music, or spiritual practices specific to that civilization. Many people report feeling displaced in time, as if they were born in the wrong era, or experience a sense of coming home when they finally manage to visit the physical places associated with this culture that fascinates them so much. These feelings are particularly significant when they arise in childhood, before any significant exposure to that culture through formal education or media. This fascination can also manifest itself through modern preferences that echo elements of ancient times. Perhaps you have an irresistible attraction to a certain style of architecture, furniture, or decorative objects that reflect a specific historical aesthetic. Or you may find comfort in traditional practices like crafts, woodworking, growing plants, or ancient artistic techniques that feel familiar to your hands, even without formal training. When you engage in these activities, you may experience a sense of continuity and connection with who you once were, even without concrete memories of that previous existence. This fascination with ancient times is what some researchers call temporal vibrational compatibility, the idea that each soul develops affinities for certain historical periods where its energetic frequency is more aligned with prevailing collective values and consciousness. This explains why some people feel a deep connection to eras of great spiritual flourishing, like the European Renaissance or Vedic India, while others are drawn to periods of great technological advances or social transformations. Your soul not only lived in different eras, but likely flourished most fully in certain periods that resonated with your specific spiritual purpose. Observing which eras arouse your most intense interest can offer valuable clues about central aspects of your soul's evolutionary journey through time. Have you ever been called an old soul? Or perhaps you yourself have this internal feeling of carrying wisdom that goes beyond the years you have lived in this body? This feeling of early spiritual maturity is one of the most subtle yet profound signs of multiple incarnations. Souls who have lived many lifetimes often convey a presence that others instinctively sense, a certain depth in their gaze, a calm in the face of life's storms, an intuitive understanding of human complexities that would normally come only with decades of experience. Children who are little adults or teenagers with surprising wisdom are often manifesting the accumulation of learnings from many previous journeys. This old soul quality often manifests as a natural preference for silence and introspection. You may feel more comfortable in your own company than in noisy crowds, or value deep conversations with a few close friends over superficial social interactions. There is a tendency to look for the essential in all things, in relationships, at work, in life experiences. While others may be chasing novelty or momentary sensations, you naturally gravitate toward that which has lasting significance. This inclination does not come from a specific upbringing, but emerges spontaneously as an internal orientation towards what really matters. A less obvious but equally revealing characteristic is a certain melancholy that many old souls carry. It is not depression or pessimism, but a deep understanding of the transitory nature of all things. Having witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, loves gained and lost over the centuries, or challenges overcome across multiple eras, these souls develop a perspective that recognizes both the beauty and impermanence of the human experience. This understanding can manifest itself as a deeper appreciation of simple moments, an ability to find beauty even in sadness, or a calm acceptance of life's inevitable changes. A distinctive aspect of old souls is what we might call incarnation fatigue, a feeling of existential tiredness that arises after numerous cycles of birth, life, and death. Many old souls report a persistent sense of longing for home that does not refer to any physical place on earth, but rather to the state of pure consciousness between incarnations. This feeling can manifest itself as an indefinable longing for something greater, a feeling that this material world is not your true home, or moments of deep nostalgia with no apparent object. Paradoxically, this same fatigue often coexists with a deep commitment to service to others and a desire to contribute to the elevation of collective consciousness, as if the soul understands that it is here to complete important work before it can truly come home. Have you ever noticed how certain situations seem to repeat themselves in your life, even when the characters and settings change? Maybe you find yourself continually in relationships with the same kind of problematic dynamics, facing similar financial challenges at different times, or dealing with the same set of health issues that resurface in varying forms. These recurring patterns are not coincidences or bad luck. They are signs of unresolved karmic lessons that your soul is determined to understand and transcend. Like a patient teacher presenting the same math problem in different ways until the student fully understands, the universe will continue to present similar themes until the essential lesson is integrated. Recognizing these patterns is the first and most important step towards transforming them. When you realize that you are not simply experiencing random events, but participating in a cycle of spiritual learning, your perspective changes profoundly. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, you begin to see yourself as an active participant in a process of soul growth. Ask yourself, what is the underlying theme in this recurring pattern? What am I being invited to learn, heal, or release? The answer rarely lies on the surface of the events, but rather in the emotional reactions, limiting beliefs, or unhealed wounds that these events awaken in you. The nature of these patterns offers valuable clues about your soul contracts and life purpose. Often, the most persistent challenges on your current journey are directly related to issues your soul has chosen to work on in this particular incarnation. For example, someone who repeatedly faces betrayal in relationships may be working to develop self-confidence and discernment that were not cultivated in previous lives. A person who continually faces financial limitations despite consistent efforts may be learning to balance material and spiritual values in a new way. These standards are not punishments, but carefully structured opportunities for growth in specific areas. An important concept related to repetitive patterns is what some spiritual traditions call the karmic transformation point, the moment when heightened consciousness finally breaks the cycle of repetition. This point occurs when you not only intellectually recognize the pattern, but experience a fundamental shift in your energetic and emotional response to the situation. Instead of automatically reacting like you always have, you create space for a different conscious choice. This moment of freedom represents the true purpose of karma, not punishment or reward, but evolution of consciousness through repeated experiences until the essence of the lesson is embodied. The best evidence that you have truly learned your lesson is when similar situations fail to arouse the same intense emotional reactions, or when the pattern simply ceases to appear in your life, giving way to new challenges and opportunities at a higher level of consciousness. Energy sensitivity is a striking characteristic of many people who follow a spiritual path. If you identify as someone who easily absorbs the emotions and energies of the environments and people around you, know that you are not alone. This ability to feel what others don't perceive is like having a more powerful antenna to capture subtle frequencies that permeate our reality. You may notice this when you enter a place and immediately feel whether the environment is heavy or light, or when you interact with someone and absorb their emotional state. It is important to understand that this hypersensitivity does not represent a weakness or vulnerability. On the contrary, it is a sign of an experienced soul who has developed this heightened perception through many experiences. Energetically sensitive people often have more developed intuition and a natural capacity for empathy that goes beyond the ordinary. This sensitivity can be valuable when we learn to interpret it correctly, allowing us to understand situations and people on a deeper level than superficial appearances. However, being energetically sensitive requires specific care and regular energetic protection and cleansing practices. Without these precautions, you may feel constantly exhausted, overwhelmed, or even develop physical symptoms for no apparent reason. Some key practices include daily meditation for centering, salt baths, regular contact with nature, conscious breathing techniques, and establishing healthy boundaries in your relationships. Crystals such as black tourmaline, amethyst, and transparent quartz can be powerful allies for those with this heightened sensitivity. When well cared for and developed, this energetic sensitivity transcends the initial challenge and becomes a true channel of healing and guidance. You begin to realize that you can help other people simply by being present, bringing clarity and relief to complex situations. Important additional information is that people with high energetic sensitivity often have what the ancients called an expanded etheric body, an energetic layer that extends beyond the ordinary, allowing for more intense extrasensory perceptions. Therefore, grounding practices are especially important for you, anchoring this expansive energy to the physical plane and allowing for a more balanced and pleasurable experience of everyday life.